Most people have little appreciation for the impact that banking has had on their lives. We rely on these institutions in everyday life to buy groceries, homes, apartments, yachts, but few of us pay attention to the control mechanisms employed by the banking industry. They use an ancient method called indentured servitude, which has existed for centuries. Feudal Lords created the original versions of indentured servitude, and Fabian methods are used in the 21st century by bankers to achieve their goals. Lending money to citizens who do not have the funds to buy what they want represents this Achilles heel point of contact between bankers and their indentured servants. There are strategies used to encourage hedonistic material indulgence regardless of how much money people actually have. Lending institutions are more than willing to lead citizens into debt. It's sort of their business model. There has been this normalizing of financial indentured servitude amongst our culture. We are delusional in that most of us use inaccurate words such as own to describe our relationship with possessions purchased on credit. Citizens who are indebted to the bank or lending institution for X number of years for a home mortgage actually think they are home owners, which is delusional. Fail to pay the monthly mortgage and it will become pretty obvious who actually owns the home you live in or rent to others. Even if you study the origin of the word mortgage, you will find that it is comprised of two root words, dead and pledge, a dead pledge. The dead pledge is just one example of this indentured servitude to banks. There's an entire catalog of sophisticated methods designed solely to encourage the consumer to go into debt to lending institutions or banks in pursuit of material goods and services people can't really afford for the benefits of banks and related financial management organizations, including these banks' public relation firm, otherwise known as the media, which urges people to go into debt. And this has been prevalent for about the last 60 years or so. In the 1950s, people made less money per capita compared to today, but they had more disposable income. There also wasn't super easy access to credit, but they believed in the virtues of frugality and saving for future generations. People actually owned their material items. Cars were owned back in the 50s, not bought on time, and certainly not leased. When the title of anything is in your name, it encourages pride of ownership. Back in the day, people respected their cars and other people's cars because of this shared virtue of pride of ownership. Take a look at the word credit, which is derived from the words belief and trust. Lending institutions don't have to trust they will be paid the money they lend plus interest because they can enforce these contracts using plenty of laws, regulations, and enforcement agencies, which ensure that they either get their money back or their property, sometimes both. Repossession businesses are a multi-billion-dollar a year business and rapidly growing. Even in recession hits like in 2008, where creditors defaulted on their loans, the taxpayer ended up bailing out the bank. So the bankers have created a system where they always win. As the media has even more effective ways of entering our consciousness with smartphones, consumer debt has skyrocketed while personal savings have plummeted. The main idea that has been pushed by the bank's PR firm or the media has been this negative view of pride of ownership, which has been replaced by a liking towards fake ownership using other people's money. Aldous Huxley touched on this in Brave New World. The more stitches, the less riches. This is taught to everyone at a young age through hypnosis, basically meaning that the more you repair, the less you buy, resulting in less money for the economic system. And that was written by Huxley in 1931. It's still very relevant today, obviously. What is presented to us is comprised of illusions with a purpose. It's important to understand where it came from and where this is going so that more of us use alternatives to banking systems such as the Virie Market to escape from the madness and get used to exchanging value for value without indentured servitude to banks.